Hi, everybody. Welcome to Discover College Soccer. Today, I'm lucky enough to be joined by Coach Tom Reilly from Washington College. Welcome, Coach.
Hey, Matt, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Women's coach there, D3 program in Maryland. As I mentioned you a second ago, I've been up there as a player 20 years or so ago, but it's a really nice spot you have. Now that the season's wrapped up, let's talk a little about recruiting. Are you kind of hitting the trail heavy? Are you working on your 23s? Or are you done with those and looking at 24s?
Yeah, as soon as the season ends, it becomes recruiting season. And there's a bunch of tournaments pretty much every weekend from, I guess, the last 2 weekends and off for Thanksgiving, and then two or three more right after that. We are still trying to finish up our 23 class, but also obviously recruiting 24s.
Yeah. When do you usually start talking to girls and kind of getting them in your pipeline? When do you start recognizing players?
We'll watch sophomore, junior year. Anytime before that really doesn't make sense for us as a Division III with no athletic scholarships. Our our recruiting process is a lot different without letters of intent and things like that. So we'll start watching players sophomore year, and then junior year is really when it becomes the major focus.
Now, do you guys do camps there at school? Do you and your staff work other people's camps? How does the camps fit in?
Yeah, all of the above. We'll have a couple of ID clinics here on campus. And those are more, obviously they're specific to our school. And those are a lot of times for kids that we've had contact with, and we want to get them on campus and have them, spend the day with us, kind of thing. So, but we also go to your future 500s and exact camps and ID sports camps and things like that are multi-college. So, so we kind of do all of that as well as the tournaments.
Okay. Well, whether you're at a camp or watching players at a tournament or something, what's kind of your hierarchy of things that you're looking for in a player, that whether it's on the field stuff or off the field stuff?
Well, I mean, for the first glimpse you get of the players, obviously, is their athletic ability. The personality and things like that comes a little further down the road. So the first thing we try to do when we're recruiting is look for players that have multiple attributes. So whether that's technical ability, field vision, athleticism, you name it, things like that. Multiple attribute players can impact the game in different ways. So, we look for, players that have several of those things in their toolbox.
Okay. Well, in terms of the tournaments that you visit, are there ones that are kind of like must must go to every year that are the top of the list for you?
Yeah, that the tournament landscape has really changed in the last couple of years. I think you used to be able to, look at your schedule well in advance and go, this is a must, etc. But with the advent of GA and ECNL and ECNL-RL and National League, and each organization is now having their own events. So they're in direct conflict with a lot of the tournaments. But the bigger tournaments like Bethesda and Jeff Cup and PDA has one up in Jersey. There's still some major tournaments. Visit Raleigh Showcase, which used to be Castle, still a major attraction as well. But they're kind of in direct competition with all the, alphabet soup events that are getting more and more prevalent every year.
Yeah, for sure. Well, do you guys look to recruit internationally at all, or do you guys look at the transfer portal at all? Do either of those factor into your recruiting?
Not in a big way. We've recruited internationally, but again, because there's no athletic scholarship and foreign students, if they don't have U.S. citizenship, they don't qualify for need-based financial aid. So it's strictly an academic merit scholarship that they would be in line for. So that kind of limits the pool. Most of the international students are looking to come over and find a cheaper way to do it. So we've recruited a little bit. We've yet to land an international on campus. And what was the other second half?
The transfer portal.
Yeah, transfer portal. Again, Division III, high academic. I'd say the majority of the players that are entering the portal are Division I players that haven't found the right fit or whatnot. So again, it's a limited pool of players that want to come back into a situation such as ours. But yeah, we do look at it, and we're active on that, but it's not a major part of what we do.
Okay. Well, you mentioned scholarship money, and obviously you guys don't have athletic aid, but can you just give us an overall financial picture of what a student athlete would be walking into at Washington College? What, what the tuition, academic money, other money, what's just kind of a, and I'm not holding you to hard numbers here, but just
Yeah.
give me an overall picture of what it looks like.
Right. Obviously, one of the first things we do when we go to recruit, you find a player you like, you look in the team brochure and you look at the player's GPA. Because Washington College has a really generous academic merit scholarship program. So if you recruit top end students, they're going to qualify for $35,000 a year in academic money. So that more than halves the cost of attendance. And then there's other scholarships beyond that, and there's need-based aid, et cetera. So most of the kids can expect to probably pay somewhere in the 20,000, somewhere in the 20s to attend, even though the sticker price is way higher than that.
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the school. Some folks maybe they see Washington and they think either DC or state and aren't familiar with it. But besides what I'm going to learn on the website, can you give me some insights into what kind of makes Washington College special?
Oh yeah, sure. It's a beautiful campus. First of all, everything is on campus. We have a beautiful stadium, training facilities, weight rooms and all that. Dorms, academic buildings are all walking distance. So whether it's our players having to get up and go to lifts in the morning, or whether it's students who just want to walk out of their dorm and catch a game at the stadium, it's all 5 minutes away. Campus is beautiful, green, et cetera. And we're also located on the river, in the Chester River. So there is slightly removed from main campus is waterfront campus. So students have access to, taking out kayaks and canoes and paddle boards and stuff like that out on the river. So that I think we're the only school on the water in the Centennial Conference. So our rowing teams and sailing teams have to compete in other venues to compete. So I think that sets us apart a little bit as well. Small class sizes, I think, is another thing that Washington College has and does well. It's about a 12-to-1 student faculty ratio. So it's a very personalized education. Professors know you, you know them. And I think that most people learn well in those situations, learn best that way. So you can't be all things to all people, but I think what we do really well.
Okay. Well, in terms of academics, how do your players really balance the commitments between the team and the academic side of things, and what kind of support systems does the school offer to help them in that?
Yeah, I think, when we sit at the end of the year and we assess our year, I think there's three parts to it. There's your on-field performances, which includes your one loss record. There's the social aspect, the culture of the team, and how the players are all getting along as a group, as a unit. And then there's the academic side to it as well, because they're getting out of here to get a good education and be employable. So we're in a really good spot. We have a team GPA of 3.65. So the girls are, and I won't take any credit for that, other than recruiting them here. They look after their studies. A lot of them work as tutors on campus. There are academic support and resources on campus. But a lot of times our team will handle that amongst themselves because there's so many bright students amongst the players themselves. But there are resources beyond that as well. So yeah, from an academic standpoint, the girls crushed it. We had a really successful year on the field. We played some really good soccer. And I think our culture is it's awesome. The girls all get along. It's been a fun group to work with them, and looking forward to the next time we get together.
No, that's great. Well, taking a step back to when you were in season, can you give me just a walkthrough of what a typical week would look like in terms of when are players getting up? When are they eating their meals? When is class? When is practice? What does a road trip look like? That kind of stuff.
Sure. Your basic, you take classes between 8:30 in the morning and 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So depending on your own individual schedule, that's where that fits in. We're fortunate we have a lit stadium that we can use for practice. So between field hockey and men's soccer and women's soccer, who share it in the fall, there's a 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 7:30 p.m. time slot for practices. So, we work out in advance between the three sports, who's going to take which slot, which week. We kind of match that up to our kickoff times too. So, you play at Wednesday at 7, you're practicing at 7:30 Monday, Tuesday, something like that. So players are in class all day during the day, and then have one of those 3 time slots for practice on a Monday or a Tuesday. Generally play every Wednesday, train classes and training Thursday, Friday, play again on Saturday, and Sunday's your off day. That's basic. That's the basic pattern. Road trips, our league, we're fortunate that the Centennial Conference is relatively geographically close together. So our furthest trip is probably 2 hours and 45 minutes, but most of them are between an hour and 15 and an hour and 45 minutes. So we take, a motor coach with Wi-Fi and bathrooms and all that stuff when we travel. We don't have a huge roster, so everyone travels, everyone dresses, and for the most part, everyone gets game time as well. And I get to go back to I think that helps with the team culture as well. Everyone feels involved in it and vested in it. So that's kind of basically it from September 1st, when you have opening day, through when your season ends sometime in November, depending on playoffs and all that.
Okay. Well, you mentioned roster. Let's talk a little bit more about that and the soccer side of things. Is there a roster size that you think is your ideal size that you try to target each year?
Yeah, absolutely. I think our sweet spot is 25, 26, maybe somewhere in that. We kind of self-limit. We're fortunate our athletic department doesn't put any kind of quota on us, and we have to carry X amount. So I've kind of self-limited at 28, although we've never had 28. 26 is the most we've carried. This past year we only had 23. So again, I think that helped the overall culture of the team, because everyone was involved in training and in matches. Everyone was aware that their number could get called at any time. So I think that helped the overall feel of the team. So yeah, we're mid-20s is where we want to be.
Okay. And what about staff? What's your kind of overall staff look like? What role does everybody play? How does that
Well, I have a full-time assistant, Dima Kaliakin, who was a player here on the men's side, and stayed and coached on the men's side for a couple of years, and then switched over and has been my assistant for the last 2 years now. So he's full-time, involved in everything we do: training sessions, game planning, recruiting, etc. I have an assistant, a volunteer assistant, who works at the college and played college soccer, etc., who comes out when she can and helps us out. We've got 2 goalkeeper trainers, one male, one female. The male is a former player here, and the woman goalkeeper trainer is working in our athletic training, strength and conditioning staff. So when her schedule allows, she comes out and helps train our goalkeepers as well. And then the final piece to the puzzle is my wife functions as a volunteer assistant in charge of all our social activities. So she gets the parents together for post-game tailgate parties. So we tailgate after every game, home and away, and she's involved in that kind of thing. So she's more or less the team mom, which works out great. And that was another piece to the puzzle. We had a great parent group. We had feasts after every game, and it just makes it a much more enjoyable overall experience, I think. So yeah, my staff is crucial. We wouldn't be able to do what we do, and we wouldn't feel as good about things if it wasn't for those people.
That's fantastic. You don't often get that much good staff and a full-time assistant at D3 level, so that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm lucky.
Yeah. Well, how would you describe your style of coaching and kind of the team style of play?
Well, I'd like to think that I can see the game through the players' eyes. grew up played my whole life, and so I empathy towards what they're going through and what situations they're dealing with, on the field and off the field, obviously. And our style of play, we give a lot of freedom to the players. Actually, we don't have a real rigid system. Like this year, we basically operated out of a 4-3-3, but those are just starting points and numbers on paper. The players are free to make decisions in game and go where they need to go to make plays, offensively and defensively. So on either side of the ball. So we work a lot in training on decision making and things like that, because we again, there's not strict and rigid assignments of who needs to run where and who needs to pass the ball where. We have a basic framework, and then the players are kind of free to express themselves.
Okay. Well, we talked about your in-season schedule. Now that it's off season, can you kind of walk me through, real high level, just what are your players going to be doing between now and when they start the fall season next year?
All right. Well, right now, because our season's over and we're beyond the amount of weeks that we're allowed to practice according to Division III, so there's no official soccer activities going on. So our girls, they get together and go out on the stadium and have pickup games amongst themselves and whatnot when it's just randomly comes together with their class schedules and whatnot. So there won't be too much between now and when they go away for Christmas break. So winter break lasts mid-December, and they come back, I believe, January 23rd this year. I think that's the Monday. When they come back, they get together as a group with the strength and conditioning staff, and they start doing strength and conditioning work, lifting and running, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So that's kind of the plan from late January through February and into March, usually to the first week of March. Then there's spring break. And when the kids come back from spring break, that's when our spring soccer season kicks in. Generally, it's a 5-week season because that's the NCAA rule. But my understanding is that there's some legislation on the table for the January meetings about changing it. So we'll see if that happens right away. That'll impact how we go about our spring. And if it's something that's for the future, then we'll have our normal 5-week spring season this year. And then in the future, however the NCAA decides to go about it, we'll, fit our program in to what the regulations say we can do.
Okay. Well, I always kind of like to end these the same way, and that's what didn't we talk about? We covered a lot of ground, but maybe there's something you want to talk a little bit more about, whether it's school soccer recruiting or the college process for student athletes in general. I just kind of leave you with the last word.
Oh, interesting. I'd like to, people, I think, have a general misunderstanding of the level of soccer at Division III and the level of commitment that our student athletes bring when they enter into this kind of an institution. Our girls are serious players. They come from big time clubs. They're vested in playing the game. They want to be better at it. They want it to be a lifetime sport for them. And I think they're, amongst some people, parents probably more so than anybody else, they don't realize the level of play. There's some really good players and there's some tremendous competition. I know our conference is Centennial. The level of play is excellent and every game's a battle, and it's a true soccer experience. And I think some people are a little misguided in how they view that. So I guess that's where I'll leave that.
I couldn't agree more as a former Division III player. So, well, Coach, I really appreciate the time and you giving us some insights into Washington College. Wish you the best of luck as you clean up that 23 recruiting class and get ready for next year. And if you're anywhere near the college coach convention in Philly in a few weeks, swing by and say hello. I'll be at our podcast booth there at the convention.
Yeah, definitely. My assistant and I will be at the convention. So
Awesome.
hopefully we'll run into you. But
Fantastic.
Appreciate having us on and letting us talk about Washington College.
Yeah, appreciate you, Coach. All right. Have a great one.
All right. Have a great day.
The 2023 United Soccer Coaches Convention is coming up fast and you don't want to miss it. The largest gathering of soccer coaches, administrators, and fans in the world is coming to Philadelphia from January 11th to the 15th. Only at this convention can you attend sessions crafted with your coaching level and desired topics in mind. Presented by world-class educators, our collection of over 200 lecture sessions and field demonstrations will offer every coach something to bring back to their own training sessions. Visit www.unitedsoccercoachesconvention.org to register. Join us as we celebrate our passion for the beautiful game, and we'll see you there.